Good morning. Thanks for dropping in. I've had requests to show the entire wall hanging, so I'm trying to sit beside it this time so you can see the pretty pictures. It was a round robin that we made at Guild one year, and I just love it. My kitchen is gray. Well, you can see the wall, and I chose black and red and white to go with it, and I think it turned out beautifully. So today I'm going to get right into it. I'm so excited for the little project we're doing, and it's quick, it's easy. I use those words a lot, don't I? But sometimes you want something in a hurry, or you have a gift, you're invited somewhere and you like to bring a little hostess gift, or you forgot about someone's birthday, or just because. So today, this is the cutest little project. It's a little bag, and you slide it over your arm, and you go to town and you go shopping. Now, the original name for this, or the one I found, was a knitting or crochet bag. You put your knitting within the bag, and the yarn comes out and you slide it over your arm and do your knitting, which is great, especially if you have cats or other animals that are interested in your ball of yarn. It's encased in this so that it's not visible and it's not rolling around on the floor. I'm going to tip the camera because you can see my wall hanging, but you can't see the bag. So just one sec, bear with me. Of course, now I have a crooked. All right, let's try that again. So in this one, this is your fancy side if you feel like being dressed up and being fancy. Isn't that gorgeous fabric? And when you turn it inside out, it's completely reversible. Then you go out when you have your casual side, and you have go to Saturday morning market if you're not getting a lot of things, and you have your little market bag. Now, we boxed the corners. This was made by my friend Marlene, and the corners are boxed. It's really nice having the wide handle because it distributes the weight. You don't have those two little narrow straps. The weight is distributed, and you can carry more weight and not mind it. You don't want to put anything too big or heavy, but it sits nicely on your arm and you don't feel it because of the wide handle. Now, I'll put in the description below the sites where I looked to find the information, and then I just kind of put it together, and also the dimensions, how to go about it. There's no template. You make your own template. It shows exactly how to do that. The second one, now on this one we boxed corners, or she did. I made one the same. We boxed the corners. In the second one, she decided to go a little larger. And that's a great idea. You just take your template and you extend it out further because you're making it the size you want. So she extended out wider, did not box the corners, just to be different, to see what it would be like. And instead of turning the two raw edges in and sewing them together, put a bias binding on that. It adds a little to it, and it makes it nice and strong. So I thought those were wonderful. It's basically the same pattern, same idea. You just can alter it to the way you want it. Now this one also is completely reversible. That's your fancy go to town side. And this is your casual side. Isn't that cute? Reminds me of the 70s. Nice and bright for spring. So if you use two lengths of fabric, so I would say get them completely different. The one I'm making, I'm using the same just because I had it and I thought I'll just try it with that. But because it's reversible, you might want to use two different ones, and then you have two bags in one. And they wash so quickly because there's no batting or interfacing. It's just your two pieces of fabric, and because you want it light and easy to fold up, you don't need it. The two layers of fabric will do it. You can fold it up and put it in your handbag. Folds easily. So the one that I started one so I could show, and the pattern that not a pattern, the description and the directions I looked at, it said 2 pieces of fabric, 33 long by 11 wide. Now, that's because she folded it over and had no seam in the top. If you don't have long lengths of fabric and have shorter pieces that would make one side, make a seam in the top. It doesn't matter, you're not going to see it. So you can, this is so much make as you want it that it's you can make up your own little changes. So anyway, I had two pieces, 33 by 11, and again, as I say, it's neat to have them different because then you have your two different styles. You fold it in half, and I'll put in below the directions to, you measure in so far from the edge, you measure down, and then just scoop in between and cut that part out. Now, when I did that, I sewed this. No, I'm sorry, you don't sew this. When I did that, you scoop it in between, and you have the one, I should have left this unfinished, but you have the one length, and with that's in the middle. So all you do is turn it this way. You have your seam, one seam straight up, across, and down. The other one seam straight up, across, and down. Then I went to the ironing board and folded in your two, I was going to say armholes, that's what they look like. Fold in your two curved edges, and you can make that as wide as you want. I have a little bigger than a quarter, but not quite a half. I just eyeballed it. And if you press them down carefully on both sides, turn one of them right side out, and they're so lightweight to work with because it's only the one ply, the one layer of fabric. Leave the other one inside out for your lining. And presto, you bring the two together, and you see bring the two together, match your two edges, and pin. You might want to pin a lot because you're sewing on a curved area, so you match and pin and sew that together. You can sew in about an eighth or however wide you want you can even sew 2 rows of stitching or a fancy stitch. You decide. Now on this one, I'm going to put a little pocket on one of the layers, and then it'll be outside sometimes and inside sometimes. But I am going to put a pocket on it. So it's just your 2 layers of fabric. And again, I'll give the directions down below. The 2 layers of fabric, and you can either have 2 pieces the same or 1 long piece, whatever material you have on hand. Remember, we're still, a lot of the videos, it's reduce, reuse, and recycle. So it's reducing your stockpile of fabric so you can buy more. We usually say we're reducing it because we have too much, but we know darn well that if it gets down a little, we do want to replace it. There's another one. Anyway, your two pieces of fabric, and when you have the directions, it's just 2 measurements. Scoop out in between the 2 measurements. Sew your 3 seams. I have 1 seam and 3 sides. And press back your sides. You might want to clip this one. I already have it clipped before I pressed it. Press back your binding and clip it because you're on the curved area. Slide one inside out, inside the one that's right side out, and match your 2 areas, pin them and sew them, and away you go. Just a perfect size. If you go to the library for paperbacks, it'll hold 2 or 3 little novels. If you go to a quilt shop, it's enough to hold, if you're buying some fat quarters or a yardage or some new patterns. And it's just whatever you want. If you're just going out and want to bring a couple of items with you, but you want a smaller purse because your purse is too heavy, a great little gift great little gift because it comes in handy. You can even hang it on the back of a chair and keep your items in that until you go upstairs, carry everything upstairs at once. There's so many ideas, it's unbelievable. Because it's only the 2 layers of fabric, it folds up tiny and you can put it in your purse until you're ready to use it. And away you go. So make yourself a bag. Take about, well, much less than half an hour. Well, by the time you choose your fabric, it might take you up to half an hour. And then it's a beautiful day, so take your bag and away you go. Thanks for dropping in. See you again.